No, there's no anxiety. The National People's Assembly, which is the highest decision-making body of the EFF, has resolved on that. So we're here to implement what the NPA, third NPA has resolved on. So we're going to present the guidelines where we're going to establish the sub-regional structures now. We had what we call the regional command teams, and the NPA has resolved that let's do away with that structure because through the assessment of our own work and what we've done in the last 11 years. Remember that this year the EFF is heading 12. We've realized that part of the challenges and the changes that we have to make is that at a regional level, our structures are not that closer to our communities because we know that we are a mass-based organization and our existence must be found within communities, and the regional structures were a bit far from our communities, so that's why we want to establish the sub-regional structures with the sub-regional leadership that is going to be on a permanent interaction with our branches and with our communities. So that resolution has been taken. All we are coming to do here is to work on the guideline of saying this is how we're going to implement that, establishing sub-regional structures, sub-regional leadership that is going to be on permanent and direct contact with our communities, because in the EFF we exist to service our communities and make sure that we turn their lives for better. Look, we are going back to the basics. That's why I'm saying that part of that assessment is to do away with that regional leadership, to go and establish sub-regional structures that are going to be closer to our communities. Because in some of the areas where we've suffered a loss and where we've stagnated, is that we've found that there's that huge gap where the leaders themselves are not closer to our communities, and that becomes one of the downfalls of political parties when leadership they move away from the people that they're supposed to be serving. Then and you find out that we're becoming an elite organization that is no longer grounded within our communities. That's why we're doing away with that regional structures. But another thing, you know that our constituency, it's a young constituency, it's a youth constituency, and part of what we realize is that with the student command, it was only mobilizing within the already mobilized youth constituency in the campuses, because that constituency that the student command was working on and convecting has been already mobilized by the institutions of higher learning. That's why we're saying let's do away with the student command. Now we're going to have the youth command that is going to be mobilizing young people from the age of 14 all the way to the age of 30, but in communities, in villages, in townships, and everywhere else they are found, not only those that are in the institutions of higher learning. You know that a majority of young people, as you know now, that majority of them, they wrote and passed matric, but they can't find spaces in the institutions of higher learning. Some of them, they are unemployed youth who are graduates, they are sitting at home. Some of them, they are found all over our communities, and that was a limitation with the student command, that we're only mobilizing only a small fraction of the youth in this country. So with establishing the youth command, we definitely now know that we're going to be touching all corners wherever young people are found in South Africa and mobilize them behind the red flag of the EFF. Morning and morning to the viewers at home. We are meeting here today on the plenum of the EFF. It's a first meeting where the leaders from national, province, members of parliament, our MMCs, we meet under one roof to sit and come out with a plan of what are programs that we're going to implement this year. So we are meeting here so that we can deal with that, on saying we're coming from a conference that has given us a 5-year program of action, but that 5-year has to be broken into a 1-year program of action. So that's what we're meeting to deal with. By Sunday, when we leave here, we need to come up with a clear program of action of what are the issues that that conference has resolved on, that for the next 5 years, this is the mandate of this leadership. So we are starting to implement that mandate, and that's what we're going to deal with from today up until Sunday.